Thanks, David. The prosecution finishes calling its witnesses for the day at the trial of Jason Lindeman. Authorities say he was drunk and crashed a powerboat into a paddle wheel cruise on the Fox River near Oshkosh in July of 2022. The 53-year-old is facing more than a dozen charges, including second-degree recklessly endangering safety and failing to render aid. Among the witnesses to take the stand today in Winnebago County, Trooper Ryan Scholes. He's the mechanical inspector for Wisconsin State Patrol, and he looked over the powerboat after the crash.
There were some mechanical defects. It looked like collision damage. As I stated before, there was damage to fiberglass. There was damage to the engines in the back, obviously, that we had just talked about prior to this. And that's all I noted for damage on this machine.
But all of that damage was as a result of the reported collision, as far as you concluded, right?
Correct.
Okay.
The prosecution indicated it expects to rest its case on Monday. The trial as a whole is scheduled to last through next week.